Hello and welcome to my seminar, Creating A-Class Customer Experiences with Limited Human Resources. Times have changed. The last 6 months has been unprecedented, but actually our customers' perception of what is good and bad, if anything, has stayed the same or increased, with more time and more interaction done over digital means rather than face-to-face. This is giving a different impression and a different kind of standard of the experience that someone wants when they're buying something, when they're trying to solve a problem, or when they're trying to book and kind of involve themselves with the product or experience or service that you are providing. So, where are we with experience and expectations? Consistency. I want to be able to choose how I contact with you. Your customers want to be able to choose how they contact with you. But do they get the same experience, whether it's through a phone call, an email, SMS, web chat, WhatsApp, all of these channels? Are you able to have that design thinking across the board? Response. Are you encouraging and setting an expectation that someone doesn't have to do multi communications? They're not sending an email in and then phoning you up an hour later. Are you giving them that instant reflection back? Are they getting that? Thanks for your notice. Someone will be in contact with you within X. Or actually, that's great. Can I have this more detail now? Are you engaging them in that way? And with customer experience being a primary focus of competition, are you giving your internal agents and staff the empowerment, and are you enabling them to be able to deliver the experience that you want, potentially with fewer agents and individuals to deliver that same, if not larger, service? So, kind of, when people look at your organization, are they able to choose how they communicate? Are you realizing that kind of SMS is on the decrease, WhatsApp is on the increase? Are you choosing them? An example I have with this is with a bank. If I want to go and get some money out, I don't need an agent to be involved in that. I don't need someone talking to me. I want to go to a cash point and I want to do it myself. But if I'm getting a mortgage or I want a loan or something that's a more personal experience, I need that interaction with a human. So kind of, do you know what your low value, what your kind of tasks where agents don't necessarily add or engage? Or do you know where actually we need to transfer that person isn't happy, but that person needs to speak to someone, and we need to give them that instant response and gratification that they are after? So when you are looking at your business and you're looking at your strategies, kind of, do you have those touch points that are bringing and enabling customers from all demographics to choose how they communicate with you? Because there are those challenges. There are those kind of the clunkiness, the double keying that takes time, but no value is added. Having to use multi-systems to do information, not knowing when a customer is presented to an agent what the customer wants to talk about, having to go back and wait for more details. Are you doing that collection to present in front of someone so that they have that clarity to be able to look and decide what next actions needs to be done and to resolve it at first time? And again, it goes back to one of the key points, is enabling your staff to be able to do that. Kind of eradicating that double keying, that transactional activity which lowers motivation and kind of increases the want or the need for someone to go off and find something else. You don't employ someone necessarily to take information that's already been given to them and retype it into a different system. You don't have to do that anymore. There's technology that can do that. And in fact, the more you eradicate that the transactional activity that's going on, the more your agents and your customer services team, and the more can be done to engage with those who need that second step action. And I think that's where the key here is if someone can do it themselves, let them do it. But if they get stuck at any point, that is when you need to jump in. That is when you need to be able to transfer to an agent. And that's where we have the transition triangle, as I like to call it, where kind of I'm a user, I'm sat there. How am I going to engage you? I've brought something, right, I need to return it, or I need to review it and say how great it is, or I want something new, or I want to add to it, or I don't understand something about it. So I go on. Do they have that journey where they can self-serve? But actually they get halfway through the self-serve journey and they need support. So can you then transfer that to an agent? Are you able to collect that ID and V data that you might need, or that initial kind of transactional? So what's your name? What's the best phone number? What's your email? An agent doesn't have to do that. You can set that up before that information even gets to an agent. So you're working around this triangle. Has a user gone straight to an agent, but are you enabling that agent to deliver that education so that they know where they can find that information next time to be able to self-serve? So it's looking at that triangle. And when you look at your business and your organization and you do the steps, not only the steps of the user that wants to kind of get in contact with you or wants questions asked, but actually, have you sat in the seat of your agent to understand how they are able to deliver first contact resolution efficiently? They're able to not interact with the customer necessarily at the first stage, but it's that second step where the action needs to take place. And are you delivering that consistency, kind of both for the user and for the agent, where the agent has the knowledge when it comes through, and the user can decide whether it's 9 o'clock in the morning they want to contact and they need to speak to someone, or whether it's midnight and actually it's something that they can perfectly happily do themselves. And these are the aspects that you need to be looking at internally. Don't just sit at the user side of it. Don't just sit at how people are interacting with you. Look at how internally you're enabling your staff to deliver that support and that customer journey efficiently and effectively when it gets to them. Now, how can we do it? Now, phone call, we've had for years on a phone call, we've had IVR. So you're starting there, you're doing that routing. Do you want to choose payments? Do you want to choose client inquiries? Do you want to choose our service desk? But actually, very few have taken that journey to deliver that design thinking across all of the channels that are available. So what have you got? If I come in with an email, does that email go straight to an agent who reads it and do what I call a Chuckle Brothers effect? They read it, they flag it for someone else to do some work on, or they read it and they pass it on to a different department. You don't necessarily have your phone calls doing that, so why are other channels doing that? Do you not want to get that email in, that email to be read, a response to go back to the customer, to ask for more information, to direct them to your website so that you can answer an FAQ, or to be able to start to look at the types of interactions you're having and route them within your business effectively, rather than someone reading, making that decision and delivering it to someone else to do the next steps action where they haven't delivered any value themselves. And with technology nowadays, that can be done across all channels. You can put bots on your website to have that initial discussion, to even help someone fill in a form and integrate it into your CRM. If that's the choice that someone wants to make, why are you wanting to burden your agent with what is effectively double keying? And open it up. Social, it started off being the complaint channel of choice because that's where everyone see it. But still, so many times, the marketing team or the comms team, they receive all of the social channel interactions. Well, why aren't you, similar with the phone call, and the IVR, why are you not routing those conversations based on the content of it? And it goes back. Look at that content to add that consistency. Look at where your efficiencies have been made. Look at where your reviews are good and strong, and where your customer service is being made, and start to consistently deliver that across all of the channels that you have opened up, because that enables you to start to widen the demographic that you're interacting with, because there's a choice. We've just done some work with the university that's opened up all the channels for clearing, because their demographic they're targeting at, actually phone call is one of the last things that they do now. And phone call is also one of the most expensive ways of communicating with your organization. So let's look at alternatives. Let's look at what you can make transactional. Let's look at where further information can be requested before it even gets to an agent. So when it gets to an agent, they have the name, the phone number, the identification number, if there is one, and all those other aspects in front of them. So they're looking, and that is integrated with the CRM. So when it comes up, it pings up. They can answer it. They can answer it at first contact. They're not having to play cat and mouse with the customer. Thanks for your inquiry. I need this. The customer gives them the more details. Yeah, but I also need this. You can get that way. So when it comes to them, they are delivering, and they're delivering what you want them to deliver, which is that first contact resolution, because that gives the best customer experience in most cases and reduces your cost of delivering that experience. And whether we like it or not, this current climate has impacted us, because we're trying to kind of enable all of these changes, but then your agents are more disparate. They're working from home. They might have been furloughed. You might have less staff than you used to. So again, it's looking at that, because to deliver that service, you need to have the buy-in and the drive of your customer service team and everyone in the organization to be able to do their part. But to do their part, they need the data in front of them. And what they don't want is all of the data. What they need is the data that's going to enable them to solve that problem. Because we get a mass of data nowadays. We get hundreds of emails a day. But if they are going to the right person, that enables them to do more effectively. They're not passing it around an organization and it gets lost, and suddenly it's been 3 days before you get back to someone, because each department has their own SLA. It's these aspects that we can start to look at and really kind of start to drive down into to continue delivering great customer service. And what results have we had as Britannic? We've implemented our platforms in very different ways. You have the mass handling of very kind of FAQ related questions. So actually, why does that need to come to an agent? You can automate the first contact, but then you're enabling, if that person's question hasn't been answered, that smaller percentage to come through to your team. And that's how they deliver a great service, because they're not having to deal with the mass. They're not copying and pasting templated responses back to someone. They're getting involved more in the case. Thanks for that response. That hasn't quite answered my question. Can I have some help on this? Yes, we can do it. I've discussed about the university, that supporting that channel shift. Opening channels can mean opening up an awful lot more interactions that you have. But actually what we can do is help resolve that and actually start to look at how can you automate some of that and how can you reduce it. So you're enabling that kind of choice for the customer, but you're also then kind of reducing and making more efficiencies on what's coming through. And then there's the pivoting, kind of working with the organization, the travel industry. Their world's changed overnight in March. And actually what we're able to do is enable them to have the power, them to self-serve. You as organizations are trying to get your customers to self-serve. Well, we're also trying to do the same. We're trying to enable you to self-serve. You know your business best. You want to be able to continuously improve what you are delivering, because the more knowledge you have, the better service you can deliver. And now it's time for a demonstration. I'm just going to... So now, kind of, how can we achieve this? How can we kind of, from what I've just talked about building that consistency of message by looking at that design thinking across the platforms, how can this be achieved so that we can bring this back and deliver that customer service? So let me give you an example. Kind of, this is our email inbox, but I'm going to choose an email. So I'm coming in to talk about, I'm interested in shared ownership. This could be, I'm interested in your product. This could be, please can I have some more information about a service that you deliver. This could be, I'm looking at where I can find on how I can do this myself. The scenario could be multiple things, but this is just one aspect in how you can take that FAQ out and deliver that immediate response to have that consistency, and then look at how you can then engage on that second stage, and how then you can route the information that you're getting in to deliver that service that you want to deliver. So I'll send an email in. So here's our platform. You're able to bring in multiple messages. This example is email, but we can also cross and deliver across Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, web chats, WhatsApp. So that gives you to look at the channel. What demographic are you mainly interacting with? What channels do they use? Well, you now have the ability to be able to interact with those. So you can see there, I've got a message in. We build this up. So here we go. It's come back. And what have I done? I've sent a load of information back. Let me make that bigger for you. To give you that information. At this stage, an agent isn't needed to interact, but what I have got is all the information I have there and can be directed across to web pages for more information, to portals. So you're enabling that self-serve if they need it. And then it's not until you respond back and you go back with that message of kind of thanks for the information. I want to proceed. There we go. And it's now someone can get involved. It's now you can put it into a channel. You can direct it to the person it needs to go to or the team it needs to go to. It becomes non-generic and becomes more specific. And that is where you can move away from that transactional automation and deliver that service that's needed. So if I go back and we follow that. So how is it done? So what we're able to do is take information in. You're able to set templates up to respond to multiple different styles of emails that come in. Okay, whether it's over payment, whether it's about alerts, whether it's about education, whether it's about data collection, because what you're wanting to do is collect name and number as it's coming in before it goes there. So you're able to build up as many templates as you like to fit. So here you can see this is a template I made. It takes minutes. And then you're able to look at how you filter that. So how do I look at drilling down the information that is collected and the information that is built upon and delivered, making sure that you're able to kind of move to that next step. So for example, we have here kind of this is picking up a section of numbers that might be a unique identifier. And then you're able to route this to the kind of industry or the team that it needs to go to, because it's based on there's one or two unique identifiers within the message that's coming in. But it could be what the subject is. It could be kind of what's in the body of it, who it's from, or which team it's going to. And you can start to either be granular or as wide as you want in that capture. And then you can add rules to it. And then this is how you then kind of, this is where the clever and the intelligence really starts to be added. So I can start to look at how I respond to an email. So I set up here, we set up an auto response. And then the next rule that's coming in, we create that ticket. So we're then putting an SLA against it. We're feeding it to a team, and we're not kind of letting the agent pick and choose what they're doing. We're giving it to them based on their skill, based on how good they are at responding to something, based on which team that they're in. You can start to route it. So they're not getting kind of information outside of the parameters that they work on, where suddenly they're passing that across, or they are delivering kind of not low or no value interactions. And then you can look at how it's integrating. So we can integrate it and send it through into the contact center. We can send it into your CRM. So there are ways to be able to suddenly you're eradicating that double keying because you've attached the message that has come in to someone's personal records, and so you have that. So when that pops up, you're able to talk to that person straight away. If we look at the tickets, they come in, and again, you can look at the progress. Are they within SLA? Are they not? Kind of, is it back with the customer? Where are you at? All of these aspects can start to be added. So not only are you kind of adding the intelligence in the email, but you're also feeding the teams with the information that they need, and you're building that. And so what you're enabling to do now is give your agents the best chance of delivering the best service, because you've taken away the transactional activity. You've collected the data that you've needed. You've enabled the self-serve. It can be self-serve. So now, how do you get the buy-in from the agents who are thinking, oh, well, maybe you're kind of taking work away from me? Well, actually, what you're now doing is enabling them to do their best. So where we can start to look at now is, well, how do we engage them? How do we look at kind of rewarding them for the work they're doing? Because now what they're not doing is adding low or no value by double keying or just transferring data from one person to another. Now, actually, they're resolving their first contact resolution. They're supporting someone when they need extra support because they're not worried about the multitude of emails or phone calls that are building up. Actually, this gives them time. And this is where that difference in customer experience starts to come. You've delivered that consistency across the channels. You've delivered automation where it can be done. But now that automation or that data collection has transferred to an agent to resolve it. So now how do you get their buy-in? How do you really do it? You can start to look at how you measure what they're doing. Because it's no longer transactional, it's not a copy and paste or a click. This is actually working with a customer. This is kind of getting that sale. This is kind of upsell, being able to upsell because they're not worried or concentrating about other things. This is also helping them be more compliant because you can take them through the steps on a journey so that they're there. And then you can show them how they're doing. And this is what this is about. This is about showing them what they're doing. And this is about encouraging. This is about a manager or a director seeing that someone's doing well and actually be able to say, do you know what? You're doing great. And you can do this whether someone is based at home, based in an office, whether someone's outbound, inbound, just answering emails, just answering web chat. Because you can start to do that consistency across again, the consistency across what the agents are delivering, which means that you can then start to kind of reward them on what they're delivering because you have that baseline, because you're not kind of enabling someone to get away with just kind of small transactional low value. You're saying to them, actually, you have to deliver now. And then if I'm new and I think I can't possibly do as well as the person that's been here for years, you can start to reward based on increased productivity. So if the person that's performing at the bottom suddenly is 10% better and you're rewarding them for being 10% better, well, that's a 10% better experience that your customer is dealing with or that your organization is delivering. So it's important to really kind of, if we go back to that triage triangle, really look at not just how the customer sees and can travel through your organization, but how your organization is enabling internally to get that data where it needs to, and then rewarding and giving that agent experience, rewarding them and visualizing what they do to make them want to deliver the best experience they can for your customer. So you have that continuous circle going round of, if you improve the agent experience, it's going to improve the customer experience, and suddenly you get that continuous circle, which means that your organization is building and building and building on the service that they give. And it's not necessarily about the numbers, it's not about having numbers, it's about working with potentially smaller amount of individuals within your organization, but you're delivering them the work that they need to do to give that better experience, which means that you can do more with the same amount, or potentially be delivering more with fewer people, if that's the way it's had to go. But at the end of the day, you're delivering positivity to both those within your organization and those without. So I hope that this has made clear that what we're not talking about here is just the theoretical of what you can do, but actually we're delivering this, and we're working with organizations across sectors to support them, not only with using our tools, but actually in the strategy that they're putting together, so that they are able to know what is the art of the possible and how they can move forward and keep up with an ever-changing environment. Thank you for watching, and please feel free, if anyone has any questions or would like to talk to me further, don't hesitate to get in contact, and I'll be happy to talk to you and go through in more detail what you've seen today.